Yahtzee, right? As the Falcons did win the toss, they elected to defer. So Warren G. Harding to start with the ball. Falcons wearing their navy unis with the red numbering and red bottoms. Warren G. Harding in the gold unis with black bottoms and black numbering tonight.
Yeah, in Week 10, Ty, Austintown got the running game going in the first half. They took them into 13-6, well 14-6 lead at halftime, and then Harding just kind of took it over in the second half. It was both teams finished 8-3, and then Austintown had one higher seed, so that's why they get the home game. They're the 4th seed and the 4-5. So this should be a down to the wire matchup.
It's always a great matchup when these two schools square off. One of the biggest schools, actually I would say the biggest school in Mahoning County, taking on the biggest school out of Trumbull County.
Oh, without a doubt.
As Anthony Ruggles and the Falcons ready to kick it away from the 40. The winner of this game plays the winner of Hudson and Walsh Jesuit, the top seed in the region, as it'll go through the end zone. It's a touchback, and that'll bring the Raiders out to the 20. So you talk about this first drive for Warren G. Harding here. They get the ball first to start the game, playoff game on the road. You don't want to do anything too crazy, you think, here. You just want to try to establish momentum early on, being the road team.
Absolutely, because like last time we said when they played, they didn't get going to that second half. They also overcame 9 penalties, which if you do that in a playoff game, you're probably not gonna win. Obviously, Austintown had their own fair share of penalties, but as the road team, you want to try to score early and kind of get the momentum on your side.
Got to feel like goals. Austintown got to try to limit the turnovers. Harding trying to limit the penalties. First ball on the ground. Harding tried to scoop it up. Chaz Coleman tackled in the backfield for a loss of yardage immediately. I will say some great support shown out here tonight. Warren traveled well for their Raiders tonight. They're packing the stands on the away side. Falcon side across the way. Not too shabby themselves over there as well. Decent amount of fans here.
Yeah, it's only, about a 20-minute drive coming through Niles and stuff. But that's not the start the Raiders wanted. First snap and losing a couple yards on the bad snap. So let's see if
back them up 2. It's a 2nd down and 12 situation here for the Raiders. They show 3 receivers off to the left out of the shotgun. Knee-high snap for Coleman, standing in the pocket, looking downfield. He'll shuffle to his right, shuffle back to his left, evading the pressure. Now going to go forward, cutting up the field, cutting past Falcon defenders, left and right. He's still slicing through them, down to the 40, still on his feet, and he's tackled down at the 50. Oh, Chaz Coleman, showcase your athleticism, young man.
He's looking like Lamar Jackson last night out there.
Oh, my goodness. What elusiveness out of the backfield. That play was dead back at the 10-yard line, DK.
It sure was, but the Harding offensive line gave him just enough time to scramble around and get.
If you ask a lot of the Falcons, they will say number 1 beat us straight up last time out. You talk about his production, what he did. First time he was able to beat the Falcons as a member of the Raiders. Falcons had won their previous 4 matchups coming in to that Week 10 matchups. Put it on the ground and put it all the way down to the Falcon 41 on the rush. Steven Sims, the senior wide receiver and running back combination for the Raiders. Big gain on first down, set up 2nd and short.
Yeah, like you were saying, Ty, they would say they beat him. He had 4 touchdowns total like we were talking about. It's not very often that you get 4 touchdowns 4 different ways in a game.
Making a believer out of this Warren Harding faithful crowd. After beating John Hay last week, the Raiders looking to do the tough task of beating not only a team twice in a season, but doing it on the road both times in a season.
And so close together as well.
2nd down and 3. They'll put one into motion off the sweeping action. They'll hand it off going up the gut. Looks like Sims again on the carry. He'll get very close to that first down marker. And it looks like they have him spotted right there on the line. 3rd down does get called. It's going to be 3rd and inches, though, it must be. Yeah, just inside the yard.
Yeah, for Harding, you want to get the first down, get that momentum going. Obviously, after the big play by Coleman, you got all the momentum, but try to get when you're on the road in a playoff game, I don't care if it's the regular season or the playoffs, if you get that first score, it kind of takes the pressure, might be the proper way to say that, off you and then get things rolling.
Chaz Coleman trying to keep the Raiders calm and march them down the field. He'll keep this one, and he'll get hit initially out of the backfield. The Falcons force a loss of a yard on the play and bring up 4th down. You're on the right side of the 50. Harding looks like they ain't even going to bring the punting unit out. They're going to stay aggressive, go for it here on 4th.
I mean, you're so, in this position, you might as well, this early on.
The only thing you could actually hope for is maybe to try to pin him back with a punt, but do you take the risk of maybe a Falcon getting loose in the backfield, coverage breaking?
That, and then it's always, you're so close, touchback, might as well go for it because
big play early on, 8:38 and ticking first quarter. Raiders show 3 receivers. Coleman takes the snap, looking for a seam, doesn't have one there, tries to spin his way to the first down. I don't think he got it, DK.
No, it does not. He's about a yard short, and that Fitch sideline's all fired up.
And a big stop for the Falcons on 4th down. The Raiders get to the right side of the 50, but get shut out on 3rd and inches, and then on 4th and 1. And the Falcons defense turns it over on downs and picks it up near midfield. So if you're Fitch, you won the toss, you deferred the ball. This is almost exactly what you were looking to do.
Absolutely, and now go down and score. Get down there and score and take the lead. Obviously, like we said, their last game, they did get off to the early lead. They just couldn't capitalize in the second half. So that left a bad taste in their mouth.
Sophomore quarterback to sophomore running back DeAndre Richard goes into the pile. Looks like he picked up about 3 on the first down carry. Call it 2nd and 7.
Yeah, Richard had 2 touchdowns in that last game between these two teams.
He's one of those guys you would describe as a runner with attitude when he gets the ball, too. And just a sophomore, so much more growth for this Falcon running back, but he looks to be another one on the list of great Falcon running backs. Nice screen pass. Evans, though, nice tackle, even better tackle there by the Raiders. That looked to be number 10, Matthew Richardson, the sophomore defensive back on the tackle. Evans, very shifty once he has the ball in open field, too, and that's a good tackle by Richardson to minimize that gain. 3rd and 5 here for the Falcons. On their own 49-yard line, trying to get to the Raider 47. Take the snap. Kaler sitting in the pocket, dumps off to Richards in the flat. DeAndre Richard down the sideline, and they're trying to bring him down. They finally do near the 10-yard line, but a big catch and run by the sophomore DeAndre Richard. Richard now a little bit slow to get up on that sideline as Falcons, or an official timeout rather, on the injured player. So as Richard goes down on the sideline, we'll take a quick break. Back after this on YSNLive.com. Ty Bartel, Dakota Kotzel, back with the call of all the action here between the Austintown Fitch Falcons and the Warren G. Harding Raiders. Well, a welcome sight for the Falcons, ZK. They see DeAndre Richard at least walking off the field under his own power after a little bit of a scary potential lower body injury situation, too. You always worry about those, especially deep into the season here.
Oh, yeah, then the first, he's always a key player, and then first quarter. But you got to give credit to the Falcons' offense on that play. That was almost a busted play because Warren Harding got in the backfield, and they didn't look very promising, and then they're in the red zone now.
DeAndre Richard, the big catch and run as Kaler hands it off. Junie Higgs now takes the carry and fights it forward inside the 10, so a nice carry on first down to pick up a solid chunk of yards. I'm actually going to spot him at the 10. Officially. Plenty of distance for Anthony Ruggles' field goal range, but if you're the Falcons, and knowing Coach Parker, I don't even think field goal's in the back of his mind. I think he goes for a touchdown here, even on a 4th down situation. I could be wrong, but
yeah, but you're also I think both these teams are prepared for a shootout, so try to get as many points as possible, mainly with Coleman on the other end.
Snap, handoff, Higgs gets tackled down immediately, tried to get into that pile, and the Raiders got in there.
Yeah, Raylan Adams got in the backfield immediately and got that.
Great show of athleticism there by Adams, too, and it's not the first time we've seen the Raiders get off the line quick and get into the Falcon backfield. As now it's 3rd down, still from the 10-yard line. It's not an and goal situation. Falcons can pick up a first down should they get to the Raider 2. On 3rd and 8, Falcons 1 receiver each way, direct snap. DeAndre Richard just fighting forward, bruising bodies, diving forward, and it looks like he'll get close to that first down marker.
You said he had to get to the 2, and, well, he might just enough.
They have the 4th down showing on the thing. It might be just inches where they spot it.
And like you said, Ty, field goal doesn't seem to be an option.
Richard back eligible and back playing. They only need a yard less than that here for a first. Direct snap to Richard. Fight through the pile. Diving forward. He's in the end zone for 6. DeAndre Richard from 3 yards out finds the end zone and finds the first score of the game. Coming with 5:18 as a lot of time clicking off the clock already here in the first quarter.
Absolutely, both teams running the ball, and that's the thing we were talking about when the Falcons took over possession, to get into the end zone and get the momentum on their side after the defense got the momentum after the 4 down stop with the Raiders.
So the 3-yard rushing touchdown by Richard. Extra point try now by Ruggles. He'll put it up. He'll put it through, splitting the uprights. Extra point is good.
And even in the special teams, they're tied that Harding got through the line, so that might be something to keep an eye on. They've got through the line so much early on, even the special teams, so let's see if that plays a factor.
If they're already doing it early in this game, what does that mean for second half?
When no one's tired yet.
But now, if you're the Raiders, you started off, things were looking good. You crossed over into the right side of the 50. Things stalled out, though, with that turnover on downs. Falcons immediately turned that into points. Any kind of, I guess, different approach in the drive this time by the Raiders? Or do you think it's business as usual from what we saw last time out, just try to refine some things?
I would just say business as usual because they were moving up the field. Obviously, you hit the big run by Coleman, which kept the drive alive. But they're going to rely on him tonight. There's just another way to put it. He's their star player. And I don't know, we said it a couple times already, but when you score 4 touchdowns 4 different ways, you're kind of the X factor.
You're pretty athletic, too.
He's like this is a different sport, but he's like the Otani of football.
Yeah. Able to just do it all. Raiders got 2 back inside the 5, 3 rather, back inside the 5, ready to receive the kickoff. Ruggles, an iron leg, known to put it through the back of the end zone for a touchback. So Raiders feel if they have any chance at returning it, it's going to be inside the 5.
Yeah, and also, Harding, you want to tie this game up. You don't want to get down early on the road by more than a score.
Falcons feel like they left a lot on the table in that Week 10 matchup against Harding. They wanted this second opportunity. They wanted a chance at redemption. They get it here. But now the Raiders, this is an unfamiliar territory for them. You mentioned in that Week 10 matchup, DK, they started off down, and they fought their way back. So being down on the road isn't unknown for the Raiders, too. They know how to deal with this adversity and fight back.
No, and even like last week, they played Mayfield and beat them 31-7. So, they kind of had a cruise victory, so did the Falcons. But the thing is that I mentioned earlier, Ty, every time in that second half in Week 10, they had every turnover Austintown made. They capitalized. And so now you want to see them capitalized here to get back in the game.
Put it on the jet sweeping motion. They gave it to Smith. Excuse me, here is Coleman Bay, rather. Number 9 on that, senior wide receiver. He was able to pick up 3 on the sweep. Raiders and Falcons keeping it on the ground entirely in their first drives, both. Minus the 1 pass in the flat to DeAndre Richard to the Falcons as, again, trying to keep it on the ground. Raiders going to scratch across about 3 more, it looks like. Bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, for Harding, just chip away, keep getting first downs.
And the Falcons, though, they were able to come up big twice on a 3rd down in inches and 4th down last time. Raiders cannot afford a 3 and out here.
Not at all, no.
Big play coming up now here for Warren Harding.
For sure it's a big play because, it's still early, but you don't want to get down too early, and plus, you're backed up in your own territory.
Falcons also get the second half kickoff, and that's also a thing that has to be looming in your mind through this first half if you are Warren Harding. You didn't score that first drive. Falcons got the lead. They get the second half kickoff, too, so they naturally already have an advantage. As a big sack by the Falcons, getting a hold of Chaz Coleman, and I think it was number 44, Rocco DeFlorio, the senior, getting his hands on Coleman and forcing the sack and the loss of yardage.
Yeah, so far, Ty, we've seen just run games. So it's going to be a battle of the trenches. And right there, Austintown won, and we saw Harding get through a few times when they were on defense, but they couldn't get to the quarterback. The Falcons capitalized.
And if you're the Raiders now, backs against the wall, your defense needs to come up for you in a big way. The punt is away. It's a high one. It's a sky one. It'll bounce friendly to the Falcons, forward into Raider territory, just shy of their 40. Fitch will take over, and short fields usually mean successful offenses.
Oh, you can't ask for a better start of possession for Austintown after being up 7, capitalizing your first possession, and now going to start in worn territory.
And if you're the Falcons, you're able to keep that ball on the ground too, and that's a big thing when you're able to strike first in a game like this and the way it seems like the Falcons want to play. Keep it on the ground, burn that clock, and just make it almost an insurmountable lead because the clock's going to be playing against you in the second half as well as the score if you're Warren Harding.
Yeah, but now if your Harding defense, as we said in the last drive, they got through that line a few times. They just couldn't capitalize. So you got to get to the quarterback, make them lose some yards.
It's also a Raider defense that did force 3 turnovers from that Falcon offense a couple weeks ago in Week 10 of that regular season. So if you're Warren Harding, you're thinking right here, too. If we can just get that one big play, too, we're right back into this thing.
Yeah, well, you know this better. We all know this. One big play in football can pretty much switch the game around in a matter of a heartbeat.
It does seem like the Falcons this time around are committed to not letting Chaz Coleman single-handedly beat them. They had a spy on him. It looked like that last snap too, to be able to force the tackle. As good thing to see Raylan Adams coming off of the field too, a little bit hobbled up, but lower body injury too. We obviously hope to see him back out on the field in a short and timely manner. But the Falcons. Doing a good job trying to contain Chaz Coleman, even though he has burned him a couple times already early on.
He has with the big run. Now, that's the thing with the Falcons. If you stop Chaz Coleman, you probably win the game because he's the star of Warren G. Harding.
Falcons, this drive, have a chance now to go up by 2 possessions if they could find the right plays. DeAndre Richard was successful in both the rushing and receiving game that first drive. He was a lone catch and a lone pass in that first drive by the Falcons, but it went for big yards. Fake the handoff, go play action, dump off into the flat again, and another big yard and big field ahead. That time off of the catch and run for DeAndre Reed, the tight end. And Coach Parker has said DeAndre Reed, one of the best tight ends in the area. He just doesn't get showcased a ton because he's always blocking, always helping out in the run game. He says when he gets his opportunity, he always makes the most of it, and you get a chance to see DeAndre Reed make the most of his opportunity right there.
He sure did, and so far the 2 pass plays for Austintown has worked very well. So I wonder if you'll see them maybe throw a little bit more of those in there.
Raiders might have to look to try to jump those passes to the flat because it seems like Kaler and the Falcons trying to keep it away from Harding's secondary. DeAndre Richard, big burst of speed to the end zone for his second touchdown today. That came from 17 yards out. DeAndre Richard, the sophomore, having himself a good first quarter.
And in that Week 10 game, Ty, he had 2 touchdowns in the first half. Well, he's off to so far a better start here with 2 in the first quarter.
That one comes from 17 yards out on the second rushing touchdown today, and now we have an extra point try by Ruggles. You couldn't have asked for a better start for the Falcons, though, here in the first.
Not at all. You know Week 10 left a bad taste in their mouth.
Ruggles eyeing up for the extra kick. Extra point try is up and through. The wind favoring that side of the field for the Falcons. As that extra point is good, and the Falcons hold a 14-0 lead. But, DK, we talked about this, too, in Week 10. They had that lead going into the halftime locker room, and then things kind of fell apart going into the second half. You got to feel like Coach Parker and the rest of that Falcon coaching staff is preaching pedal to the metal right now. We have a chance to deal some big heavyweight blows. We got to deal it here in the first half.
Yeah, this is a situation playoff game. If you get a lead, just don't let go. And like last Week 10, it was a tale of 2 halves. Austintown took care of the first half, and then Harding made some adjustments and took the second half over. But
you feel like the Raiders need a nice sustained drive that ends in points with this particular drive to just avoid things from spiraling out of control here in the first half.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, Warren Harding has to score this possession. They're down. You're already down 2 scores now. Again, they obviously overcame that last time, and we all know they can score in a heartbeat. But like I said, Week 10 left a bad taste in this Fitch Falcons' mouth, and they're not going to want to.
And you got to almost feel if you do give the Falcons the ball back, if you're the Raiders without scoring, Fitch might just be committed to minimal passing, keeping that ball on the ground, burning that clock, 2-score lead, try to build on it as you can as the game goes along then.
Yeah, and then like we said, they get that second half kickoff. So
from the 40, Ruggles puts a boot into it. Angling towards the end zone, it's a touchback and bring the Raiders out to the 20. So Chaz Coleman and the Raiders looking for some points this drive. We're held to a 3-and-out last time, highlighted by a Falcon sack on Coleman on 3rd and short. If you're the Raiders, you got to try to look to get other guys involved. It feels like the Falcons are making that concerted effort to try to limit Coleman's effectiveness in this ball game right now.
Yeah, then in that Week 10 game, they did bring him back of James Jones to play a little bit and see if they maybe try to do that again.
Bringing a different look. Try to throw Falcons off their game. Sophomore James Jones in for this drive. Coleman is a receiver on the near side of the field, so he's still effective. They'll get it to Aries Bay as Coleman Bay gets tackled down past the 25, but a nice gain on first. As there is Coleman Bay, the senior, gets more than half the yardage needed on first to bring up 2nd down and short.
Yeah, Harding brought James Jones in the last game. Kind of it sparked some momentum for him to see if they're going to try to repeat that.
Chaz Coleman got a receiving touchdown off of a James Jones throw, and you see Coleman as the receiver on the far side of the field now is super athlete, man. He could play multiple positions on the field. They'll look to get him involved. Nice little toss that time out of the backfield, but nowhere going. The Falcons locking down that running game of the Raiders.
Yeah, the only really big run the Raiders had so far was from Coleman in that first possession. Well, Coleman, I wonder if he could kick if he had to.
I'm sure if you asked him to do that, change the oil on the bus, he'd be able to do that. He's multi-talented over there for the Raiders, is Chaz Coleman. James Jones back out of the Harding sideline.
Yeah, Harding, you want to get other players involved. Obviously, Coleman's your star player, and the Falcons are going to focus on him. So maybe you can catch that defense sleeping with someone else.
They're hoping to do that. They're set up with another 3rd down, 3rd and 4. Raiders looking to convert. Out of the shotgun, Jones looking to pass, staying in the pocket, finding Aries Coleman Bay, and Coleman Bay going to get himself past the 35, move the chains, 1st down, Warren Harding.
And that's a small momentum play Harding needed. Get the 1st down, keep your possession going. And again, you got it to someone else who wasn't Coleman.
Got to try to lull them to sleep and get their eyes off of Chaz right now. And what better way to do that than to take him out from under center, too, and kind of take that attention away from him a little bit. You like the play call.
Oh, for sure. That's a mainly on 3rd down, too. Like, obviously, Coach Parker, so they're not going to let anyone burn them, but sometimes the star player is the star player.
Jones staying out of that shotgun. Chaz Coleman, your receiver on the near side of the field. He's guarded by DeVanzo Tate. Chaz Coleman, a little bit of a height advantage on Tate. They'll go to the screen pass. There is Coleman Bay able to get through. A flag goes flying, and perhaps a hold here. Usually when we see it come out of the offensive backfield, that's
99.
Most of the time the case, yeah.
Yeah, and like we said in that Week 10, they had 9 penalties, Harding. They overcame it. I mean, Austintown had their own, but
if you're the Raiders right now, you can't afford to have penalties here. On the silver lining, it's on 1st down that you have it, and it's not going to be super detrimental, but still puts you behind the sticks and makes you have to play a longer field.
Yeah, and you're in your own territory. They backed them up to the 27. So 1st and 20 is never fun. I mean, again, it's 1st down, so it's better than 3rd and 20. But when you're down 2 scores early, you moving backwards doesn't help you.
You can't afford to start having penalties, like you said, being down 2 scores. Chaz Coleman back out as a quarterback. Faked it, and look at him go. Put him back in the backfield, and he just flips the field all the way to the Falcon 45.
It could have been 4th and 20. It didn't matter.
Chaz Coleman, the super athlete, and the way he sold it, too. You saw him draw it like he was going to pass and then just takes off with his legs. He's got that deceiving speed. And I was talking about before the game, too. This guy's got turbos in his legs, it feels like, because he starts going and then it hits it into a second gear once he starts.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, like, he just gets faster as he gets going. You and I would be slowing down.
Toasted as we're through the first quarter of play. 12 minutes in the books. Falcons leading it by 14, but the Raiders are driving in Fitch territory, starting with the first down when we get back. Ty Bartell, YSNLive.com, along with the Hoda Kotzel tonight on your sports network. The field start the second quarter as the Raiders are inside the Falcon 45 driving as they trail 14-0 in the second quarter of this OHSA Division II Region 5 playoff game.
Yeah, and for Harding, Ty, you got to score because, again, it's the start of the second quarter, but they don't get the ball in the second half.
Chaz Coleman snuffed out and tackled in the backfield, and Falcons got burnt once by him, but they continue to say if you leave him in the backfield, we're going to keep a spy on him then.
No, like, the same thing with that first drive Harding had. Coleman had a big run, and next thing you know, he didn't get anything. Big run, and now the Falcons capitalized. So get their momentum right back after the big play by Coleman.
Like you said, super athletes are super athletes. They're going to burn you sometimes, but the Falcons, like we've been mentioning, are making that effort, it feels like, to just try to limit his impact on the game right now and see if it'll work out. Harding with 4 receivers. Coleman looking to pass, trying to switch it the other way. They got him in the backfield. He gets rid of it downfield. It caught, and they're going to say it was a completion. What a catch. Move the chains. And I think it was Coleman Bay, if I'm not mistaken.
But then Coleman again. He had 3 guys on him, and he got away from him and completed the pass. That
put some extra zip on that pass as well.
That was a fastball for sure.
Raiders move it to the Falcon 33. First down and 10. Chaz Coleman having himself a special first half already. Raiders send 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Single back in the backfield is Sims with Coleman on his left hip. 1 into motion, give it to Sims. Sims goes to the right side of that Falcon line. Wide open hole all the way towards the 20. And they'll get pushed out. Let's see, I think they say move the chains. Yeah, first down for sure.
Yeah, good.
It was all about where he went out of bounds, and it looked like it was near the 20. Just get an official word on that and move those chains.
So we have a timeout here, Ty.
First timeout, and it's going to be an official timeout. One of the Falcons down on the field, injured on the field, and we're going to take a break. Back after this. They got it all for you at Burnett Pools, and we got it all for you here on YSN. This game, along with 11 other football playoff games tonight. If you purchase your digital ticket, $9.99 get you access to all dozen games tonight on the network, too. Plenty of playoff football to go around. Plenty of spots, plenty of divisions in action tonight as well. A little bit of an injury for Wayne Holloway. He was able to walk off the field under his own power. So, again, welcome sight to see. Don't want to see any injured athletes or serious injuries, especially here in playoff time.
You don't see injuries. Honestly, I'm never going to speculate, but it looked worse than it was at first, so it's good to see him walk off on under his own power.
As the Raiders, though, in the midst of a nice drive, they now are right on the edge of the Falcon red zone. Now on the Falcon, it looks like 24-yard line.
And if you're the Raiders, you have to score here. On the road, you got 11:07 to go here in the first half, and you're already down 2 scores, so you want to, at worst, go into halftime down 7. Obviously, there's 11. It's a long way to go here in the second quarter, but
stack it up. Extra running backs in the backfield, extra blockers, single receiver each way. Look to pass. They have a wide open man on the side, diving into the end zone for a touchdown. Tyler Smith for 6.
And there's the momentum swing Warren Harding was looking for right back in the game.
Comes with 11 minutes to go here in the first half.
And Ty, they didn't use Coleman. Now, obviously, he ran a slant on that play, but he didn't need. They went away from him, and that got Harding into the end zone.
And that's what you got to do. It feels like they got to try to get attention off of Coleman, and that's exactly what the Raiders able to do. Goes as a 23-yard pass, and the extra point is good. It's a 7-point game.
Now let's see if the Harding defense here can get a stop, because they haven't had a stop yet. And so far, and obviously you're going to have to get the stop if you're being down 7, but like we said, they did force turnovers the last time these two teams played, just 2 weeks ago. And like we mentioned earlier, Ty.
What a dive there by Smith, too, just to get in the end zone.
He was getting in the end zone. He wasn't going to miss it. He was in that end zone. But again, like we were saying, like these you played 2 weeks ago. It's so rare.
There's no secrets, right?
Yeah, no, it was literally 2 weeks ago. And then last week both teams had opponents, and they they won their games pretty fairly easy. I don't like to put it that way, but there's just no secrets. And it's a hard rivalry here in the Mahoning Valley.
These two teams know each other. Like we said, Fitch 19 and 18 all time in the 37 previous matchups. Raiders trying to get back to 500. They're 1-1 in playoff matchups since the 2020 playoff expansion. They met. This is the third time meeting in the playoffs. I mean, these are two teams that are as even gets too. When they play each other, it's oftentimes a good game. Coin flip game. You don't know who's going to win.
It should come down the wire, just like the last one.
The kick is away. Falcons leading 14-7. They'll take it just in front of their end zone. Looking to get a return off, but they're going to get snuffed out near the 10 and tackled down just past it. So the Falcons got a long field in front of them at 10:51 here in the second quarter.
Yeah, give the kick team for Harding credit getting down there and pinning Austintown deep. Because remember, their last drive they started in Warren territory. So let's see what Harding can do here.
You want them to have a longer field to give your defense a good chance here and force them to put together a long drive. Big thing here for the Raiders, they want to try to avoid a potential Falcon 2-for-1 opportunity set up. You can't start playing like that now too, but that is always looming in the back of your head when the other opposing team and a team you're trailing has possession to start the second half. Nice little pitch to the side. Nice running there by Richard to get all he could out of that towards the 20. Solid gain on first down.
Yeah, and then Harding's forced a lot of turnovers this year, and this is for them to be a perfect time to get one.
Falcons deep in their own territory. You start with a short field if you can get one. But you got to feel like if there's one thing Coach Parker has been practicing and preaching to his team all week is
hold on to that football.
Protect the football. Nice little sweeping action again by the Falcons. They try to get it past the 25, and they will move the chains. Enough for the first down.
And also, you haven't seen Austintown at all throw much, so it's going to be a run game. The clock is going to run. Yes, it's still early in this game. It's only, 10 minutes to go here in the first half. But it's been a clean game so far. We've only seen one foul, so that clock can get it in the way of Harding here real fast.
You mentioned the Raiders, too, with their defense. You feel like if you can try to limit how many passes you throw, you limit the chances of it potentially being intercepted by that Raider defense and give them a chance to try to play safe. And also the run game's been working for the Falcons to this point, so.
Timeout Austintown.
They'll take their first timeout. 9 minutes, 40 seconds to go. First half of play. Ty Bartell, Dakota Kotzel with the call of all the action in this Division II playoff game when we get back. Back here out of that Falcon timeout. It is their first of the first half as Falcons have 2 remaining. Raiders still with their full 3. First and 10, Fitch at their own 25-yard line. Single receiver to the right. Kayla Hurrett. Hands off to Richard. DeAndre Richard carrying Raiders with them past the first down marker all the way to the 40. As another big burst and a big run by DeAndre Richard. Looks like he might be a little slow to getting up again, too. He's been taking a beating this game.
And he sure has, but he also he had to play tiptoe there. He broke like 3 or 4 tackles coming through the line.
He's able to get it all the way past the Falcon 40, but now we have an official timeout. Another injury on the field. DeAndre Richard, too, getting looked at by the Falcon training staff. Falcons, off of that injury to Richard, he was able to walk off the field, so again, a good sight. They hand it off to Junie Higgs, and Higgs going to get a couple, it looks like, on that first down run. As keep the clock moving, the Falcons get to their own 44-yard line.
Yeah, if you're Harding, this is when you want to get the stop. But also, you know, Richard's out of the game for the moment, and he's kind of been the big star for the Falcons so far, so you see if Harding can take advantage of that one.
Oh, and one of the Raiders jump. He saw Kaler was trying to get him to jump on it, but Anthony Simpson made the jump long after he was hard counting it and hard for it. You saw the Raiders, they were teetering, and then one that looks like just fell out of balance.
Yeah. Simpson's going to take a seat for a moment, and then Mikael Williams is coming in for the Raiders. Maybe get his head straight for a second. Always frustrating when you're the culprit.
Gives the Falcons a free 5. They'll go for the screen pass. Brady Evans has a bit of an opening, and they'll finally tackle. Nice tackle on Evans to hold him from, I believe, a potential first down. It'll be very close. No, they'll say move the chains, it looks like. First down, Fitch.
Yeah, but that could have been a lot worse, Ty. Like, he only had a man to beat. He could have been going down the end zone. So yeah, sure, you get the first down. You give up the first down, but
it's a second nice tackle the Raiders have made on Brady Evans today. And Brady Evans, younger brother of Tyler Evans, a receiver at the University of West Virginia and an alumni here at Fitch. So he's got receiver blood running through those veins, too. He's capable of breaking it away. So making those type of tackles huge. Try to limit Brady Evans. They're one of the best receivers here on the Falcons, but look at this, right through the line. Clear field ahead, all the way through the end zone, first 6. Big touchdown, 47 yards.
I don't think anyone touched him, Ty, till the end zone. Richard took off.
Junie Higgs that time on the run. What a carry by Junie Higgs, 47 yards. Braden Bryant laying down a great block there at the end, too, helping him out. But call about fishing right through the middle of that line, man. The seas parted.
Yeah, I don't think anyone touched him until, like, he got tackled going into the end zone, but I don't think anyone touched him going through the line. And that is exactly what Harding did not need it to happen. Down 14, you got just under 8 minutes to go here in this first half. And honestly, Ty, you kind of want to see if this is what Coleman's going to have to take over.
As Junie Higgs, 47-yard rushing touchdown, makes this a 2-score game once again.
I think he ran the 40-yard dash in about 3 seconds.
Yeah, he carried a couple of Raider defenders into the end zone with him as well.
And this is the exact start Austintown was looking to get out to. Because, again, like we were saying, like that second half in Week 10 had to leave a terrible taste in their mouth, and so far they're punching back.
Now, if you're the Falcons, you got that 2-score lead back, 7:56. And barring the fact that the Raiders eat the whole clock and score at the end of it, Falcons might have that opportunity for a 2-for-1. And you score to end the quarter, and you score to end the half, and then score to open up the second half, then you could really put pressure on Warren Harding, too, if you have that type of opportunity. Raiders, though, hoping that they can just get points one way or another. I don't think they care how quickly it is or how much time they eat. I think they're just looking to get in that end zone, make this a 1-score game again.
Yeah, Harding's got to score, and like you said, if they eat the clock up and score and take this game to halftime down 7 or 7-6, whatever they might do, it could be your best case scenario, because even if you score quickly, and right now they haven't had an answer for the Austintown running game.
And that's with Richard and Higgs, too.
Yeah.
Higgs with his first touchdown. Richard has 2. They have 3 rushing touchdowns in total. And how about Junie Higgs, too, stepping up in a big way, 47-yard touchdown after Richard goes down.
Yeah, you got it. You got his opportunity. He didn't miss.
But if there's anyone with the talent level to come back, it's Chaz Coleman and the Raiders uncorking. Big pass, and he connects all the way to the end zone for 6. 1 play, 80 yards. But a flag in the backfield. And this one might be coming back.
Yeah, we'll see. That was thrown right as Coleman threw the ball, so
Devon Morgan was the one with the reception and the touchdown, but I think it is against the Raiders and erase the big 80-yard touchdown play.
Yeah, right as soon as Coleman released that ball, Ty, they threw the flag, so a tug of the jersey right there got him. So, but again, that's the thing. Harding, they overcame in the last game between these teams. But being down 2 scores with less than 8 minutes to go in the first half, you can't move backward. Mainly this deep in your own end of the field.
Crushing penalty there for the Raiders as it's their second now in the game too. You mentioned the 9 penalties in the first matchup with the Falcons. But if there was one area they wanted to clean up from that win, it had to have been the penalty game. They wanted to have a little bit less. Another penalty comes out as a tackle down near the 15, but a penalty flag near the 10-yard line.
I think it would be offsides in Austintown.
So this could be extra yardage here. Well, decision time here.
But for the Raiders, you don't want a penalty sideline warning.
So no in-game penalty, just a sideline warning. First one addressed.
Yeah, sometimes the players, the momentum and the emotions that run high in a playoff game. But yeah, like we said, the big touchdown play gets called back. That's the thing. Harding can't shoot themselves in the foot with play situations like that.
They did pick up 5 yards on that first down play. It's 2nd and 15, but Raiders still playing behind the chains, trying to get back to at least the original line of scrimmage. They need to get to their own 30 for a first down. 3 receivers right, 1 to the left. Staying in the pocket for a second, then breaking out, trying to use his legs. Coleman will dive forward towards the 25 and get about 10 of those yards back and make it 3rd and manageable here for Warren Harding. That's a nice play by Chaz Coleman.
Yeah, that's the second time in this game that they had a long yard situation. He's got over 10. Their last drive or 2 drives ago, I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, he had that big 1st and 20 run he had. Duke can move.
He's got the legs, man. He's got the afterburners in those legs as well. 3rd and manageable for Harding. They need 5. 2 receivers each way. Running back Sims on the right hip of Coleman. Coleman takes the 5-step drop. Now gets flushed out of the pocket, trying to stay on his feet and stay alive. Throwing as he's fallen, and it skips off the ground, incomplete. It's a 4th down. No laundry on the field. Raiders gonna have to punt.
You got to get Coleman credit there. He had a defender on him, and he still got that pass away. Yeah, it was incomplete. It's 4th down, but it gives your punter a better situation because if you get backed up, you might be punting from your own end zone. And that can always that's asking for disaster.
Brady Evans waiting back at the Falcon 35-yard line for the punt. And the kick is away and hauled in near the 30. Evans gets the edge. Evans has a hole. Evans past the 50 and finally tackled down. Big return by Brady Evans to get it back onto the Raider side of the field, and the Falcons going to start with another short field in front of them.
That's a fantastic return because that was a good kick. He picked it up about inside the 30 and to get into Raider territory.
And talk about a return of what, 20 yards?
It's about 20, yes.
A little bit over 20 for Brady Evans as they're going to be spotted officially at that Raider 46.
And now we're in that double score situation. 6:11 to go here. If Austintown can score.
And they haven't been passing the ball really at all. So you keep it on the ground. You burn that clock. ideal for Austintown and TJ Parker, what they want to do is if you could get points, even if you get a field goal here, you end this half with points. Raiders don't touch it again. You open up the second half with the ball. Like that's obviously perfect scenario right now, planning in your head too. Not always going to go that way too. Raiders in this situation, it feels like more than ever desperate for that turnover right now.
Absolutely. Then if you go into the locker room down 3 scores, I don't. Obviously, Warren Harding is a good team, and they can overcome it. But down 3 scores on the road.
It's tough. And your opponent gets the ball to start, so potentially down 4 to start.
Harding needs to stop here.
Kaler going to look the pass, staying in the pocket, then just dumps off to the short way. And it looks like that reception was by Higgs. And trying to get the running backs involved a lot of the receiving game. We saw Richard get a couple catches. Junie Higgs now comes out of the backfield to make a catch.
Yeah, if I was Fitch here, Ty, they haven't really gone deep. Maybe try to go for a home run pass to to almost put the nail in the coffin. I mean, it hasn't seemed to be the game plan yet, but that would probably honestly might catch Warren off guard.
Falcons, 3 receivers set. 2 receivers set, excuse me. Extra tight end. 1 into motion. Handed off. Higgs looking for some running room. None to be had. Raiders stop it at the line of scrimmage. It's 3rd down. This should bleed the clock under. This will bleed it under 4, or under 5 rather. So about 4:40-ish. And ticking here in the first half when the Falcons snap the ball.
Yeah, this is a stop right here. Big 3rd down play for the Warren defense because if you can get the stop and get the ball back, which again in this Austintown might go for it.
I could see them, especially if you keep the ball on the ground and you just try to make this a 4th and manageable. It's on the right side of the 50. You're in no man's land for a punt right now.
Yeah, it's always but it's a big defensive possession for Harding.
They'll fake the toss. Kaler stays in the pocket. No pass to be had. Breaks out with his feet. Kaler spins into the Raider tacklers. Gets past the Harding 40. And good job by Colin Kaler, the young sophomore quarterback. He saw nothing, stayed in the pocket, and eventually got out of the pocket rather than staying in and taking the sack, and was able to get some yardage there on 3rd.
They were looking for that home run pass I was talking about. Try to see if they can get the big moment, get a bigger lead going into halftime. But you got positive yards. That's all you can ask for. He didn't try to force it. He didn't take the sack.
You brought up 4th and short, and you made it a manageable 4th down to try to get. DeAndre Richard in as the running back. 2 receivers, twins to the right. Richard on the left, hip of Kaler out of the shotgun. 1 into motion. And they'll take the timeout, the Falcons, to talk things over. They had 2 timeouts left. They used 1 of them, leave them with 1 left in the first half. You like it, though, by the Falcons because the Raiders, they've jumped off sides once in this first half of this game, too. Well, encroachment, I guess you could say, defensive encroachment. But if you go back to Week 10, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was 4 penalties called against them, too, in the encroachment factor out of those 9, too. So if you talk about that, what the Falcons did with that play, just trying to get them to jump off sides, it looks like.
Yeah, and then it's been a clean game so far. You had the 2 penalties by Harding. The big one was the holding that called back the touchdown. But we have had a very clean game. It's mainly we've seen just run plays. We haven't seen a lot of passing. Warren opened up a little bit their last possession, and then you did see here a couple plays ago, Fitch was trying to go for the home run ball. They didn't have anything open, and that's how you're facing the 4th and 3rd.
Falcons put the offense back out there, looking to go for it. They set 2 tight ends up to the right. Ball is missed snap. DeAndre Richard just has to go down with it near the 45, and a disastrous snap helps the Raiders out on 4th down. It's a turnover on downs, and Harding gets it at their own 45.
Now if you're Harding, you capitalize on that. I mean, it's not technically a turnover in the books because it's 4th down, but that's a play they've been looking for on defense. A bad snap, get the ball, and you got 3:41, and you got short field to get back.
3 timeouts left, too.
All 3 timeouts, 3:41 to go. This is a situation where, Warren, you want to score, and then again, because if they go to score, most likely you're taking this to halftime, and then you can try to get a stop once the second half starts. Because again, not to keep griping on this, but Austintown gets the ball first.
And Chaz Coleman looking to provide the Raiders some offense here. He has Steven Sims out of the backfield with him as the tailback. Now shifts him to his right hip. Coleman fakes the pitch, has a pass down the middle of the field, and it's a missed target. It was Devon Morgan again. He had the touchdown called back earlier in the game. He was open, had both the secondaries beat. Just a little off.
Just out of his reach. But no, that's a good play call by Harding. Try to strike fast.
That's something you got to figure if you're Coach Parker. And on that Falcon defense, you're talking to that secondary saying that's almost twice now we've almost got beat. We've got bailed out twice.
Yeah, just a little bit overthrown in that penalty saved him.
Chaz Coleman, the keeper, stays on his feet. Never goes down on first contact. It feels like you need 2 or 3 on him to make a stop. He gets to the 50, eats half the yards, and brings up 3rd and 5.
Yeah, he's not easy to take down. This is the first Harding game I've got to see this year. Obviously, knowing what's going on in the world, but just to see him play in person, this is fantastic. Like I don't like to compare, but like just anyone who watches the NFL, he's kind of like running around like Lamar Jackson. I mean, I'm not trying to compare a young high school kid to an NFL player, but
no,
you
man,
can see you can see the similarities, and it's fun to watch.
He's shown he's got the passing capabilities as well. Trips to the left side. Staying in the pocket. Little touch pass to Sims, and he'll find him. Sims has a block. Sims has an opening. Sims has a touchdown.
And that's exactly what Harding needed.
Coming with 2:36 here in the first half.
And Ty, Coleman made that pass look like he just tossed it to him. It even looked like he tried. And great cut there by Sims to get away from the Austintown defenders.
A 50-yard touchdown pass. And the extra point is up and good. Harding makes it a 1-score game.
Well, with 2:36 to go in the first half, Ty, Austintown, see if they can get that quick score. And
that is true, though. I mean, you mentioned it. You just said it. To hit the nail on the head. You still have time if you are Austintown now. You might not be able to go for maybe the kill shot and get up 4 possessions to start the second half, but if you can build a 2-possession lead here, get the ball to start the second half, things are still looking pretty if you're the Falcons. But now if you're the Raiders, they didn't use any of their timeouts. Or excuse me, they didn't use any of their timeouts.
Well, they scored quickly.
You get a quick stop here, you get a 3 and out, you can get that ball back, and you might be talking tie game or a potential to tie the game going into halftime.
Yeah, this might sound weird, but this is a big possession for either team here.
And you know the way the Raiders are playing, too. They're going to stay aggressive. You would feel like, at least. They're not going to be shy to use those timeouts and try to get this ball back, knowing Austintown gets possession to start the second half.
Yeah, because if you can get back into the locker room tied up or even a field goal within 4, I think even when Austintown jumped out to that 14-0 lead tied, and I don't think anyone in the stadium thought it was going to be a blowout.
Not the way these two teams play, right? As that kick goes into the end zone. A touchback from the Raiders. So now Austintown gets the ball out at their own 20. 1 timeout left for the Falcons. They've scored 3 touchdowns this game, all of them on the ground. 2 from DeAndre Richard, 1 from Junie Higgs.
I'd say they try to open up the pass game. Obviously, you can see him play conservative, just run the ball and go into halftime with the lead. Because, you throw the ball, that's going to get more risk of a turnover. And obviously, Ward Harding is looking to jump on anything.
But if you are running the ball, you need to make sure you're getting positive yards enough for a first down. You don't meet the chains in 3 runs.
And those 3 timeouts.
Yeah, you give the ball back. Richard, look at Richard just waiting, so patient out of that backfield for a sophomore. Doesn't cut through the first hole he sees. He waits for the opening, waits for the play to develop, and he gets the most out of it on that first down run.
We talked about it with Coleman on Harding's side, but with Richard here, he doesn't go down the first contact either.
And just a sophomore, too, is so strong, as I've described him, a runner with attitude when he has the ball.
He'll bows
Those kind of Doug Martin type builds, right? Those Bulldog type builds. And the Falcons going to take a timeout, utilizing their last timeout here of the first half with 2:02 to go here in the game. I know that the play clock was winding down a little bit, but still, interesting call here from Coach Parker and the Falcons. Perhaps second down and short. I mean, if there's any type of play to try to reach into your bag of tricks, take a deep shot, it would probably be on a play like this, right? You want to try something here because you feel confident you're getting it on third, as long as you don't go backwards here.
Yeah, also, maybe Coach Parker saw something he didn't like with that Warren defense and says, let's kill this now.
That is the last timeout for the Falcons here in the first half. Raiders have all three of theirs remaining. Worst thing for the Falcons here would be going backwards. That would bring up third down and force likely a timeout from the Raiders.
Oh.
And then they'd still have two, so they might have one in their back pocket for offense if you don't get it here. Or you go backwards here. Or you have an incompletion and you give them it without a timeout even needing to be taken. They'll keep it on the ground, go to Richard. Richard trying to push himself past the chains.
It's really close.
It's going to be, they're saying near that 30. But now, I mean, if it's third and inches, you really make it a decision in Harding's game, and it's not. They move the chains. But I was going to say, if it's third and inches, then it's like, do you take the timeout? Do you not? Because if you take it, you burn it.
If they would have forced the third down, they take it because it would have been fourth and short. You just never know.
Minute 40 and ticking first half. Past their own 30, the Falcons. Back on the ground. Richard getting the edge and getting out of bounds. And Falcons will take that all day. 10-yard runs, getting out of bounds to stop the clock, marching down the field.
Richard he got banged up earlier in this game. You wouldn't know it. He's looking just fine.
He's got those Hall of Fame badges, right?
There you go. I like that.
Heals up, regains his stamina real quick. Twin receivers to the left for the Falcons. Single one out wide to the right. One in the backfield out of the tailback. Screen pass to Brady Evans. Evans trying to bob and weave his way through the Warren defense. He'll eat about 5 on the screen pass and catch and run.
That was close to the lateral.
75 seconds and ticking here in the first half. Snap, fake it, and an incompletion. This time the pass's intended target was Braden Bryant, the sophomore receiver. Minute 6, clock stops, it's third down.
Well, this is a big, if Harding gets the stop, even if you use the time, depending how they get the stop, they scored quickly their last possession, so if they get the stop and get the ball back, they have a chance to get back to head to the locker room tied up, or at least within 4.
Got to wonder if the Falcons just keep it on the ground.
Yeah, if you're Austintown, you just play it conservatively.
It's 3rd and 6. They need the Warren 48.
I mean, we kind of beat this nail dead already, but they get the ball in the second half. So
give it to Junie Higgs. Higgs finds nothing in the pile, gets pushed back.
And Warren's taking a timeout. Harding's taking a timeout.
On 4th and 6, Raiders burn their first timeout. 56 seconds to go here in the first half. And if you're the Falcons, you got to punt. But now, we mentioned it, Raiders executed it. They get that opportunity to potentially tie the game going into halftime.
Yeah, they had obviously their last possession, the quick score. And then they had the other quick score. Now that was called back by a holding penalty. But they've proved in this game they can score quick and fast.
So 4th and 6, Falcons on their own 46-yard line. Silver lining, though, you got Anthony Ruggles as a punter. He's very, very good, very strong leg as well. If there's anything you want to do as the Falcons here in a punt situation, trying to pin him back deep. You're going to say, hey, if you want to try to take this to the end zone, let's try to give you 80, 90 yards in front of you to try to make that happen.
Oh, yeah, if you're Fitch, you want to try to pin them in the 1 yard line if you can. Make them go as long as possible with less than a minute to go.
Anthony Ruggles standing just in front of the Falcon 30. Take the snap off the ground, puts the boot on it from the Falcon 35. It's drop touched by the Raiders, and it looks like Warren Harding did recover it. Aries Coleman Bay almost made a critical mistake in turning it over, but I think he got back on top of it. It hit his hand, too. It was a live football on the field.
All the fans that made the drive down from Trumbull County, hearts just stopped for a second.
Yeah. Raiders take a big sigh of relief as they have the ball with 48 seconds to go here in the first half.
And also, Ty, this isn't the worst field position starting. Obviously, you're back in your own territory, but Austintown was looking to pin them deep on the inside the 10. So, and like we said, Warren has proved they got two timeouts with 48 seconds to go, and they can strike fast. So
look out for number 21, Devon Morgan. They've tried to target the senior receiver a couple of times today. One time it was a misfire. The other time it was called back. A touchdown was from him. He's one of those guys, if you're the Falcons secondary, you can't let him get past you.
And also, that Coleman guy, might want to keep an eye on him too.
Chaz from his draw play trying to get through the Falcon defense. He'll get it to the 35.
Like you said earlier, Ty, he doesn't go down on the first contact. He got hit like 4 times.
Carries bodies with him. Clock stops when you move the chains. It starts now, 40 and ticking. Raiders, 4 receivers in the set. Coleman takes the drop. Flag comes out. False start, Warren Harding. And that's the second penalty on Anthony Simpson today for the Raiders, and that'll back them up 5.
Yeah, he had that encroachment penalty earlier.
So it's 1st and 15 now. Falcons will take any of it as they can. 18 seconds. Raiders went into a huddle with the clock running. Didn't take a timeout.
Yeah, that's a little interesting.
They'll take the snap, looking downfield. Big pass uncorked and through the hands of the Falcons, the only ones close there. And 6 seconds remain now here in the first half, 2nd and 15.
That was interesting, Ty. They didn't take a timeout or even try to hurry it up.
You feel like it was kind of misplayed and how they mismanaged, how they could have really had this possession go, especially after they got the first down off that Coleman run.
Yeah, you held Austin. You held Fitch from scoring or getting anything, and then
now you're going to have to take the knee. 6 seconds. You don't want to take anything crazy. So
yeah, that's an interesting situation, but
maybe it was in the game plan, but it feels like the Raiders could have made something happen offensively with the timeouts allotted, but they'll take it to the halftime locker room. Falcons will lead it 21-14 going into the halftime locker room. They will start with possession, receiving the second half kickoff to start the second half. As we go into our halftime shows, please enjoy the performances of both the Warren G. Harding Raiders and the Austintown Fitch Falcons marching band. We'll be back, though, in about 20 minutes with the start of the third quarter, second half, here on ysnlive.com. Greenwood Chevrolet Stadium in Austintown, Ohio. Ty Bartel, Dakota Kotzel. We bring you the second half of action between the Austintown Fitch Falcons and the Warren G. Harding Raiders. Fitch to get the ball here to start the second half, leading 21-14. But that first half played out just like pretty much all 37 matchups before between these two schools. It was a close one.
Sure was.
And the return, nice slip that time. Flag comes out near the 20. I think this will go against the Falcons.
Yeah, now if you're Harding, Ty, you want to get that stop to get momentum back to try to tie the game. Like we talked about it before halftime. that possession with less than a minute for Warren was it was interesting, I'll call it. Because they had the 2 timeouts, and they could obviously showed in the first half they could score quickly and from far away. And they just chose to kind of just let's go to halftime and make some adjustments. So let's see. But again, in week 10, they were down, and we saw what happened. So
the penalty was on the receiving team, so the Falcons get backed up to their own 10-yard line to start this drive. Trying to be a fly on the wall in each of those locker rooms. What do you think some of the highlights were from each coach talking to their teams coming out into the second half?
Well, the big one was, remember, Harding got that forced a turnover on downs, and it was a bad snap to get the ball back right before halftime. And that's why you and I were like, well, this is kind of different why they did what they did, but that's okay. And then Harding's got – both times when Harding's got down by 14, they've answered. They haven't been able to tie it yet, but they've been and they've answered quickly the one time.
You got to feel like that's just been preached to the Raiders, too, as if you fall behind too far in this game, you could pretty much call it ball game, and they've avoided falling behind 3 possessions tonight, and that's been a huge key in keeping them afloat in this one. Still trailing by 7. It's 2nd and 7. Falcons 1 receiver each way. Kaler hands off to his hip on Richard. Richard just gets carried into the past the change. Flag comes flying in late.
Another thing, Ty, is we've had a clean game. We haven't had a lot of penalties, even though we've had 2 just to start the second half. But we haven't had an official turnover in the books because that fumble snap on Austintown in the first half was a 4th down, so it would have been a turnover on downs anyway.
Holding call on the Falcons backs them up there. And a couple penalties here on this first drive. Literally the last thing you wanted if you were Austintown.
Yeah, with this score staying only 7 points, it might come down to the first team that can get a big defensive stop from an interception, a fumble, or anything crazy. It's going to come down to the wire, like you said, at every other game these 2 teams play.
2nd and long. Falcons trying to get to their own 20 for a first down. They're backed up inside their own 10. Put it on the ground. Nothing doing for Fitch on the running game. Nice tackle and a Reese Coleman Bay. He's been active on the offensive side. He gets his name mentioned here defensively with that nice tackle.
But right now you can't ask for a better start on defense if you're Harding, because you get the stop and then we'll see what happens on offense.
Falcons.
But we've seen by both teams so far, Ty, 3rd and 13, they can still get the first down.
3-man receiving unit, 4-man receiving unit. Richard stays in the backfield. Kaylaher dumps it off to Richard in the screen pass. Richard gets to the 15. Able to get some of those yards back, but it's 4th down. Falcons going to have to punt it. And for the Raiders, they should get solid field position off of this punt as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what Warren needed to do coming out of the halftime. Get the stop. Because, again, we were talking about, we pretty much beat that nail to the head that Austintown could have did the quick 2 score, but they didn't get either of them. I mean, they did get the quick score at the end of the first half, but Warren had a chance to tie it, and then they just chose to play it safe and go to the locker room.
Kick is away, and it's a sky kick. Raiders going to let it bounce. Falcons jump on it.
I think that touched the Raider.
Yeah. They're trying to say it is. The Falcons are. We haven't seen a signal from the officials yet, and they're going to call it Raider football.
That was really close to touching a Raiders player's foot.
It did look like it was close. I was thinking that myself. I don't want to make the call on it until the officials made an official point. They came in, huddled together, and said Raider football.
But like you were saying, Ty, fantastic field position for Harding.
In Falcon territory is where they'll start.
And, let's see what Chaz Coleman can do to get this team back into it. Because remember, like we said in Week 10, it was pretty much a tale of 2 halves, and Harding had the best second half. And a score here ties the game. Well, a touchdown, I should say. Obviously, a field goal would not, but you get my point.
On the Falcon 47, an empty backfield right now. Chaz Coleman looks to be involved in the play one way or another. He'll hand it off on the jet sweep. Falcons trying to stay in front defensively and just fighting for all the yards he can get that time. And looks like out at the 45, that was Steven Sims. Brought the running back on the jet sweeping motion. And I'll get about half the yards. We saw the Raiders do this a lot in the second half of the Week 10 game. Started using that sweeper as either a fake or as part of the game plan as well, and started utilizing that man in the sweep action.
Yeah, because honestly, like, they look like one was going to go deep on that play.
Again, there's the sweep action to Sims, keeper from the QB, and, or no, actually a keeper rather, that time by, that was Izzy Reynolds, the running back. Is it actually Izzy Reynolds, though, is the big question. Chaz Coleman ripped his jersey the Week 10 game. He was wearing Jamal Martin's jersey the second half, wearing 18. I was calling Jamal Martin for a few, and then I was told from inside sources the jersey was ripped. He just got a different jersey on. It was still Chaz.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That still looks like Chaz.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. He just has a different jersey on because he's up.
The first half to jerseys just haven't been kind to Chaz Coleman here in Austintown. He's donning another new jersey.
Yeah, he's pretty hard to miss. He's a big guy.
Chaz goes down on third down, and the Falcons get the stop. A loss of 2, maybe even 3, brings up fourth down on the Raiders.
Yeah, Chaz Coleman is easily over 6 foot tall.
I was going to say, he's towering over everybody else on the field. Maybe it's him. Oh, and to your question, if he could kick, yes, he could punt, actually.
Yeah, he had a couple other punts earlier. But
you see this in smaller schools a lot with a player that's kind of a do-all. Not too often you see at the Division II, Division I level of high school football a guy that could just kind of do everything for you. Unfriendly bounce for the Raiders, and they'll get on top of it past the Falcon 25. So Fitch, solid field position. They get it back here. So the Falcons defense doesn't break after giving the ball back to the Raiders here. And now Fitch, with a little bit more room, looks to try to put together a drive too, not backed up against their own goal line.
Yeah, if you're Austintown, like, you know, they've ran the ball. It's been a running game for both teams. Eat some clock and then try to get up. Want to go up and try to go up the 2 scores and try to put this game away. I mean, obviously, third quarter, a 2-score game is not away, but
you do feel if you can burn some clock and end with some points here, you're on the right track of doing that, though. But the counterpart, the caveat to that is how quickly this Raiders team has shown that they can score.
So the more you keep the offense off the field.
Look at this DeAndre Richard guy. Oh, my goodness.
Just playing pinball. He doesn't go down, man.
Just bouncing off of those Raider defenders all the way to that 40 for the first down. Just shy of it, rather. But it is a first down for the Falcons. And that's pretty much been the Falcons' offense this year. They've gone as DeAndre has gone on the ground for them. He opens up a lot of things offensively for them. He's a guy you have to keep an eye on at all times. You can't forget about him.
Yeah, he's already scored twice this evening.
They fake it to Higgs. Kaler passes to Evans, and Brady Evans drops it. A rare drop from Brady Evans on first down, and it brings up 2nd and 10.
That's one of the very first, like, non-screen passes Austintown's thrown this evening.
Evans had it in his hands, but failed to clutch it. And we'll stop the clock. 8:35 to go. Third quarter of play. Ty Bartel, Dakota Kotzel, DK, with the call of all the action in this Division II playoff game. Round 2 playoff game. Winner goes to the regional semifinals to play the winner of Walsh Jesuit and Hudson. One receiver each way. The handoff. Fishing through the line as Richard. They got him off balance and were able to make the tackle at the 40, and that was key to stopping Richard, was trying to get him low to get him off balance, but a flag does come in.
I think that's going to be how late it was. It looks like it's going to be unsportsmanlike.
It might be unsportsmanlike with the late flag. We'll see.
And Coleman for Harding is kind of looks like he's a little distressed, so I wonder if maybe it's something he was involved or not. But like you were saying,
they're talking things over. We'll get the official call.
Jaden Lutzum is limping a little bit further.
Oh, it's on the Falcons. Unsportsmanlike. You were right. It was personal foul. And I think it might be, it might have been, not against Coleman, the penalty, but like you said, the play must have involved Coleman to some, because he was a little fired up.
Yeah, so that actually, that helps out the Warren defense. And honestly,
a ton.
A ton. And then, like you were saying before the penalty, we were focusing on that. To get Richard down before he can even get a yard or two was a big momentum play. So now a 3rd and long.
3rd and a country mile. You need to get to your own 49-yard line if you're the Falcons, backed up on their own 25.
Yeah, they're snapping this ball at Canfield.
3rd and 24 officially. 3 receivers set. Extra tight end on the field. Rolling out is Kaler. Tries to fire to Evans. Evans. Did he make the completion? No catch. Wouldn't have been a first down anyway. Would have just set up a better punting situation for the Falcons, but they will have to punt it from their own 25.
Well, obviously, the Raiders' defense has made some adjustments at halftime because they didn't have any answers for the Falcons' offense in that first half, and so far 2 possessions and 2 3-and-outs.
The 2 passes are what stalled that out, too, and then, of course, the personal foul as well on the Falcons, backing them up 15, but the Falcons went to pass the ball twice after picking up the first down, and friendly bounce for Austintown, and look at that punt by Ruggles, back them up to the 26.
And that's the second time. Like, remember the last punt, we thought it touched the Warren. I came really close to touching the Warren player again. They got to be a little careful.
Great punt, though. Field switching punt.
Yeah, he flipped the field well.
You get to flip it to the 26 and force the Raiders to have a 74-yard field in front of them.
But this is if you're Harding, you got to tie the game.
You don't want to keep playing around, but both teams defensively have looked good out of that halftime locker room, making it a point to make every yard a hard-earned one.
And then Coleman with his number 4 jersey.
Yeah, Chaz Coleman donning his 3rd jersey in the last 3 weeks here against Austintown. He's done 3 different numbers against them. Coleman, the handoff. Oh, they'll get it out in the backfield. Steven Sims backwards. 5 on the loss. It's 2nd down. Dylan Crone, one of that very talented linebacking core for the Austintown Fitch Falcons. Headlined by Dylan Crone, you also see Marky Fitzgerald and, of course, Rocco DeFlorio heading that group as all very talented linebackers, hard-nosed, old-school style linebackers, love hitting people, love to put hurting on guys.
It's kind of football you play in the Mahoning Valley.
7 minutes and ticking. Chaz Coleman, the keeper. Coleman gets through the line and will get tackled past the 20. Nice gain. Past the 30, excuse me. Nice gain by Coleman to the 31.
He ran into 2 defenders and bounced off of them. Like he ran into a brick wall, kept going.
That little draw play has been dangerous for them today, too, as the Falcons have bid on it. But he's already shown, too, Coleman has. He's got the arm that you got to respect him from the past, too, and just taking that second to maybe force the defenders from maybe rushing you and get that extra second to kind of just see the field and take off. He gets flushed out. Throw almost intercepted, and the Raiders caught it. What a catch. Somehow, some way, Devin Morgan comes up with it.
That went from disaster to fantastic in about a matter of seconds for Harding.
A friendly tip for a first down.
Sometimes luck just goes your way. And now that's a situation now, Harding, you wanted to capitalize. You got a lucky bounce, and he got the first down, and now try to go down and try to tie the game.
2 receivers each way. Coleman, the snap, the handoff. Sims has it into the pile. Falcons stop it, but not after a 4-yard gain from Sims. Raiders putting together a drive, and again, Chaz Coleman finds a way. But you said, too, this is a game of a little bit of luck and a whole lot of skill. A little bit of luck going the Raiders' way, too. Off the hands of the Falcons, into the hands of Devin Morgan. fresh set of downs for Warren Harding.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to have the luck play to get your momentum back. Obviously, they're only down 7. We got a long way to go.
4 receivers set. Gave it to Sims. Sims tackled down near the line to gain, and it looks like it's going to be enough for a first down. I'm going to say push the chains. The Falcon 45-yard line. Fresh set of downs for the Raiders, and Harding, player down on the field. So with an injured player, we'll take a timeout. Back after this. Raiders out of that timeout go immediately into the run game, and with Steven Sims that came off the field with a little bit of an injury concern, he did walk off the field. The Raiders only get a yard on the carry. It's 2nd and 9. So Warren Harding in the midst of a nice drive here on the Falcon side of the 50. Now sitting at the Fitch 44, 2nd and 9, 4:15 and ticking here in quarter number 3. Greenwood Chevrolet Stadium in Austintown, Ohio. Ty Bartell, Dakota Kotzel on the call of all the action here in the game, and Warren Harding going to have to take their first timeout of the second half.
Yeah, they didn't, there's something the Falcons defense was throwing at them they didn't like.
4:06 to go. Harding takes a timeout. We'll take one with them. Back after this. Coming out of that Raider timeout, there's only 2 remaining for Warren Harding here in the second half, but like you said, maybe saw something in that Falcon defense they either liked or didn't like to call that timeout. Raiders show 4 receivers. Coleman out of the backfield, sends Sims into motion. Coleman looking for a seam to run through, hurdles someone and goes to the 40. Everybody was kung fu fighting, it looks like, huh? What a move by Chaz Coleman.
And back to that timeout real fast, Ty. Like, they take the timeout because this is a critical possession for Harding. You know, you got 3 minutes to go, a little bit under 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. You're down 7, and you know it's win or go home.
3rd and 5, big third down. 3.5 minutes in, ticking in the third. Coleman the snap, the 5-step drop, looks in the pocket, stays in the pocket, rush back, tackle down near the 50. Another sack for the Falcon defense. And the Raiders will get backed up for a 4th and long. Huge play by the Falcons defense.
He does get sacked.
And he tried, though. He tried to evade everything. Credit the Falcons' pursuit on that one, too, to just keep throwing rushers at him. They gave up on him passing the ball, and they said, we're just going to keep throwing the kitchen sink at him. They do get him down. They force the 4th down and the punt for Warren Harding.
And again, the defenses in the second half continue to play strong.
Coleman's punt
takes
a bounce, another bounce, and it will go into the end zone. Almost pinned him back at the 1.
That went right over the pylon. That was close.
You talk about something about a guy that can do it all too. He almost showcased it right there.
He's fun to watch, Ty.
Senior quarterback, but really just call him an athlete for Warren Harding. He could do it all.
Yeah, I know we talked about them in the first half in the pregame stuff. In that Week 10 game, he had the 4 touchdowns, but they were all different. Like, one was passing, one was receiving, one was rushing, one was defensively. You don't see that happen ever.
Falcons now offense back out on the field. They give it to Richard. DeAndre Richard gets the side, again, right side of the line. A big hole and a big run for DeAndre Richard.
And Austin, you feed him because he's been your playmaker tonight. He's got 2 touchdowns. He's been bulldozing over everyone, and you use him to run the clock.
Falcons, you just feel like both teams really need that score. Fitch not comfortable with the 1-score lead.
No, mainly Warren's proven they can score quickly when needed.
Defense taking center stage here in the third quarter, though. Both teams coming up big on the defensive side of the ball. The snap, the handoff, back to Richard. Richard again, burning the Raider defense all the way down to the 10, the 5, and he'll fall forward, but just shy of the end zone. What a big run by DeAndre Richard.
We were saying?
Sophomore running back. Easily over the century mark today. And you talk about receiving yards, too. He's probably got another 40 of those collected as well. What a game for the sophomore running back. And you look at this Falcon team, and you see how many young pieces they have on and around the field. Not really a ton of senior leadership from the line to the receivers. It's a lot of sophomores, juniors that are getting it done. Back to the ground game, and nothing to be had. Raiders defense walls up. But you see this kind of production out of young players too, and it only gets you excited for the future and how these young men are going to continue to develop and grow in this sport, and how much better they can get, what their ceiling actually is in the sport.
Yeah, and you mean just a young team, and you're hosting a second-round playoff game. It shows right there you're already having good seasons, and it's only more to come. And then Richard here you said he's only a sophomore.
Next, looks like he's the next great running back in the line of a lot of great running backs that the Falcons have had over the years. Falcons knocking on the door of trying to take a 2-score lead. The snap, the handoff. Bouncing off the first tackle, Junie Higgs. Like butter, slipped through him and into the end zone for the touchdown.
Yeah, Higgs there. I mean, Warren won the battle. The trenches got through, but he spun around and got in the end zone. That's a fantastic play there by Higgs. And
that's his second touchdown today, too, coming with 1:08 here in the third quarter.
And that's the last thing Harding needed. So now you're going to be down 2 scores again, and now you're running out of time. You got 13 minutes and 8 seconds to tie this game up. And the extra point is good.
And put it up, put it through. The Falcons reclaim a 2-score lead at 28-14. You got to feel, though, if you are Fitch, MO on defense is no quick scores. If they want to take the clock, if they want to take 3, 4, 5 minutes, put together an offensive drive, and they culminate with points, you'd rather that than that quick over-the-top play that they've been looking to do, especially to Devon Morgan, too. That quick score that this Raiders team is looking, those big chunk plays that they're looking to get.
Yeah, but the last possession, you saw him go after Coleman. Keep doing that. It worked so far. Because if you can keep him from making a big play, now, yes, he can easily run away from everyone, and that he could burn you. But the first 2 possessions here in the second half for Harding, Austintown's came after him, and they haven't been able to move the ball. And
Falcons, after that score, can see a path to victory now with the fourth quarter looming. 1:08 left here in the third. But you still got to play clean football, and that's been a key right now for Fitch. They haven't turned the ball over yet, with the exception of a turnover on downs play, but no live ball turnovers, no fumbles, no interceptions yet. And that's been the case for both teams. Clean football game in that regard.
Yeah, no turnovers and a very limited flags. And like we said, that Week 10 game, Austintown had 3 turnovers, and Warren Harding capitalized every single one of them.
From that 40, the boot into the end zone. It's a touchback from Ruggles. So bring it out to the 20 for the Raiders. And now Warren Harding trailing by 2 scores. 1:08 left to go here in this third quarter. I feel like we've been saying at every possession you need to score, but it feels like you need some points here.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing is, this could come crucial down towards the end. They've already used a timeout this half.
That is a good point, too. Raiders with their 2, Falcons still with their full 3. But if you got old number 1 under center, anything's possible. But actually, they're going to go James Jones, number 12, under center, and put Coleman as a receiver. This worked successfully for them earlier in the game, as Jones does have a touchdown pass to his name. Found Tyler Smith earlier in the game.
Yeah, also worked in that Week 10 game, not to keep going back to that, but Coleman, that's how Coleman got one of his touchdowns.
Raiders not afraid to show their second quarterback. They got talent at the position. Multiple guys that could play it. Try to go handoff. Nice run on first down, and the Falcons finally tackle him down, but not before getting past the 30. Sims, first down run on a first down carry.
Yeah, that's exactly what Harding needs to do. Just move the ball and they have to score this possession. You don't score this possession, the game's not over, but it's going to get harder and harder.
The Falcons, though, are content with this way the Raiders are playing. You don't want 10-yard runs, but you want them to earn it. You want them to try to get smaller chunk plays and keep having that clock tick. And the snap, the handoff. Sims tackled down after a gain of about 2, it looks like. Second down and 8. Hi, Mom, I'm on YSN. Falcon band, they've had a lot to play for tonight as this Falcon football team. 28 points, 4 rushing touchdowns tonight. 2 from DeAndre Richard, 2 from Junie Higgs.
And I think Harding's going to take it to the fourth quarter. They are.
And that will be the whistle here in the fourth quarter. Raiders elect not to snap it. It'll be second down and 8 as we get ready to start our final 12 minutes of action. The fourth quarter of play live from Greenwood Chevrolet Stadium in Austintown. It's Ty Bartell and Dakota Kotzel with YSNLive.com with the fourth quarter of action when we get back. Raiders and Falcons here for the fourth quarter. Warren Harding, a second down and 8. Jones pass through the hands. Incomplete. Devon Morgan had it and then didn't. And it's third and 8. This is really a case where, you're not going to go for it, unlikely on fourth down, but it's one of those you really just don't want to have to punt it back to the Falcons here in this situation. The clock starts becoming a factor. The score can become a huge factor if Austintown goes up by 3 possessions.
Yeah, the only way you go for it on fourth, if it's like 4th and 1.
Yeah.
That's the one you maybe take the gamble.
Still on their own side of the field, Raiders needing a first. Jones looking to give it to him. Staying in the pocket, looking downfield. It's up and through the hands of Tate, but also through the hands of Morgan. I thought Devon Morgan was going to come behind and clean up the scraps again after it went through DeVanzo Tate's hands. But it is incomplete. It is a fourth down, and it is a punting situation for Warren Harding.
Yeah, Harding's got to get a quick 3 and out because you got 11. You just started the fourth quarter, but one more score from Austintown, and that might do it.
So tough. We've mentioned it before, to beat a team twice, let alone twice on the road.
In 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks, too. Because when you talk about it, when you're the winning team, what do you change from the last week? What do you look to change? How much can you change? You could clean it up penalty-wise, but if you're the Falcons, you look at the loss from Week 10, you know what needs to change. You know the things you need to correct. You know you need to play cleaner football. You know the certain plays that were working that wasn't working. You knew Chaz Coleman was someone you had to circle in on.
Yeah, but
it's you don't want to say a disadvantage, but it almost feels like it is when you win that first matchup going into the second one, because what do you change when you're on the winning side? And if you don't change anything, then you're kind of vulnerable to whatever the Falcons are throwing at you, too, if you just stay the same.
Exactly, and then like you said, what did the Falcons change? They were the ones that lost. They had all those turnovers, and they haven't had one yet, and they're up 2 scores. So, because we won't capitalize on all those turnovers.
Falcons going to look to put it in the air. Kaler puts it on the money to the target downfield and tackled out of bounds, and a flag comes in after as Brady Evans off the reception got the first down near midfield, but there might be some yards attached to this. I don't know if they're calling a late hit out of bounds. It's the only thing I would think of, but flags on both sides of the field.
Wasn't it's holding?
Could be that too. But it was, well, unless the flag on the opposite side of the field came in, we'll go on the field for the call here. An eligible man downfield for the Falcons, so kind of odd to see the Falcons try to pass after seeing the run play work so well for Fitch in that last drive too, to just try to put it in the air.
Yeah, but that's also a play. Like, you still got a lot of time to go. Like, Warren's obviously expecting a run. Maybe catch him napping.
Now you're sitting 1st and 15. Back them up 5. Falcons will go to the ground this time. Look at that cut. Up the middle of the field. Still on his feet. And tackled down. No, he isn't. He's still going. Now finally down past the Raider 40.
I think they just took the entire Raiders roster to tackle him. He ran at least 10 yards with 4 guys on him.
DeAndre Richard, a freight train with a Ferrari engine, just keeps on fighting his way all the way past the 40 to the Raider 38. He got what was that? An extra 15 yards after initial contact?
At least 15, yeah. At worst 10. That was fun to watch.
DeAndre Richard saying to Chaz Coleman, "I can match you on those type of
That's
physical
exactly
runs."
what I was thinking. Exactly what I was thinking.
Falcons on the right side of the 50, back to the ground game. And get that past the 35. Junie Higgs that time.
You need to put Coleman and Richard up in who can run through a brick wall faster.
That two-back tandem has really starting to develop here for the Falcons, with DeAndre kind of your more power back, Higgs more your elusive speed running back. You bring them in, you get different looks out of that backfield too. Fresh legs as well you keep on the field. Higgs again stays as the tailback behind Kayla 3 receivers set. Bryan and Evans near side to the right as the twins. Hand off to Higgs. Higgs trying to go inside the zone, get it to the 30. Flag comes in. It might be on that tackle, honestly, and it might be.
I think it's a horse collar.
Yeah, I was the horse collar, maybe face. It was right in that area, but regardless, should be beneficial here to the Falcons. But we will go onto the field for this call. Well, maybe not. Oh, now we will. Exactly the call. Nice call, DK. On the horse collar, put the Falcons forward and give them a fresh set of downs. And you mentioned it. I mean, it's not over until that clock hits triple zeros, but another Falcon touchdown here. Really going to be tough for the Raiders to try to put something together. Under 10 minutes to play in the fourth now, 9:50 and ticking.
Man, the Raiders defense has had a hard time stopping the run. So even if, like, quick score, and if you elect to kick it back to the, well, I mean, they'll get it back, but, like, if you try to onside kick it, don't get it.
Falcon snap, handoff. Richard has a hole. Richard to the end zone. The hat trick, his 3rd touchdown of the game. Coming here in the 4th quarter.
Richards pretty much said, get on my back, boys. I'm going to carry you.
5 rushing touchdowns for the Falcons tonight. The Raiders, silence taking over this side of the field. And the extra point is up. It's through, it's true, and it's a 21-point advantage for the Falcons.
That might have, it's not over till it's over, like we were saying, Ty, but that might have put the nail in the coffin because Harding has not been able to stop the running game all night.
And if you're the Falcons, regardless of what happens with this next Raider drive, you're pretty much, the game plan is keep the ball on the ground, burn some clock, eat time with each time you snap that ball. You want 30 seconds coming off of that game clock.
Yeah, Harding only has 2 timeouts. Yeah, we're not going to see Fitch throw the ball again, most likely.
Unless you're thinking, unless they got the mindset of the Falcons when they were up 28-3 against the Patriots a few years back.
Oh, boy.
You don't want to be putting the ball in the air too much here.
We're sorry.
And, I mean, but you look at the 5 touchdowns, though, on the ground. You got 3 by DeAndre, 2 by Junie Higgs. Why deviate from the plan? It's obviously been working here tonight if you're Fitch.
Yeah, and like Harding, I mean, they had the 2 scores. But other than that, they haven't really done much on offense. I mean, you can see Coleman trying to do the best he can, trying to carry him. It's just they've, in this second half, Austintown's rushed him, and he hasn't got.
Falcons here on the kickoff. Ruggles the boot out of the back of the end zone. It's a touchback. So put it out to the 20. Raiders take over there. Now trailing by 21. Falcons cheerleaders having plenty to cheer about tonight. Plenty of offense for their Austintown Fitch Falcons, as Austintown Fitch looking to advance to the regional semis.
Yeah, if you're Harding, you got to score quick. You got to pass. You got to pass the ball because you got to score quick and fast.
This first drive, yeah, you need something quick. They're going to try something out of the old bag of tricks, and it might break off big for them. Coleman Bay got through the sea of tacklers and finally is taken out near the 45. There's 3 Falcons walling up in front of him, and he just said, well, the only path I have is right through him, and he somehow got through it, made a door.
He's taking a page out of Richard's book.
Just go through. The best way, the quickest way between 2 points is a straight line. Not going around the defenders, I'll go through them.
Hey, if you got more force, you're going in.
Big play by the Raiders. Got a chunk.
Well,
Shy at the 45.
That's the way to start that drive you need it, because you got to score.
Chaz Coleman staying in the pocket, trying to find something downfield. Got pushed back and fires it incomplete.
The fact that he got that ball off.
The fact that a defender was coming in for the sack and he kind of just pushed him back and said, not yet, and then threw it away.
Like, even though they don't gain anything, but just him getting that ball away keeps it a 2nd and 10 instead of a 2nd and 15, whatever.
And that's been the thing. The Falcons have been able to back the Raiders up on some sacks tonight, too. Chaz sees that, recognizes that, and knows he has to get it away. But a flag comes in.
I think it's going to be on Harding.
I think it will be as well.
There was a Harding fan that showed their displeasure in front of us. Remember, they already had a sideline warning.
That's what the question's going to be on. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the Raiders.
And this, honestly, now that incomplete pass is even bigger, because if he does go out of bounds or get sacked, you're almost back to your own end zone.
And another penalty.
Because now it's going to be 2nd and a country mile?
2nd and 25, yes, sir. It hurt the Raiders last week, but it didn't break them like it's breaking them right now, and it's coming at costly times. Again, 15 yards on top of it makes it 2nd and long, but hey, we've also seen Chaz Coleman convert things from this distance as well. They'll go screen pass and out of bounds that time off the completion to Marcus Crum Jr., the senior. So call 3rd and long.
Yeah, they just kind of see the Raiders not trying to rush, but obviously knowing they had to convert and score here, and just some silliness going on, because that's the thing. Like, they overcame the penalties last time, but also Austintown helped them out with the turnovers.
Coming out of 5 wide, Coleman looking to pass. Flags come in, and Coleman hurdling some guys, and the ball goes out of bounds near the 50. Chaz Coleman's athleticism never fails to impress me every time I see him play this game. Likely holding, though, on the Raiders, and this one's going to be coming back. Unless you want to take the down and call it 4th and short, but I think the Falcons will take it.
You take the penalty.
Yeah, the Falcons will take 3rd and even longer.
Yeah, because at this point, it's they might be snapping the ball back in Trumbull County. And this is the thing, that those, like we talked about, those flags were able to they were able to overcome the penalties last time. But Austintown has played a clean game so far. Like, they haven't had many penalties. They haven't turned the ball over.
A face mask on the Falcons.
So actually that benefits Harding.
So that should give him a first down if it's tagged on to the end of the run.
So my point was moot.
Well, no, it was also a good question. I mean, you usually think it's holding too, but it was one of those cases, a face mask penalty.
Yeah, someone just got him at the right time.
So move things forward. Big break here for the Raiders as temporarily keeps their season alive, at least you feel.
Yeah, and that's kind of the first quote-unquote mistake you saw by the Falcons tonight.
A penalty, a counter penalty that you can't have, really. It took away that unsportsmanlike contact and off of the hands and almost an INT. Tried to get it to Coleman that time.
Yeah, that would have been a pick six. There was no one in front of him.
Chaz Coleman, they're trying to get him involved in multiple ways. The goal is just getting the ball in the open field, but the Falcons have made that a tough task tonight. And whether that's him coming out of the quarterback spot under center or get it to him as a receiver, they're just trying to get him the ball with space to let his legs do the work, but the Falcons trying to contain that and doing a good job of it. 5 wide again here for Jones, taking the snap. Staying in the pocket, fires over the middle. Oh, and it's a completion and a touchdown. Marcus Crum Jr. on the slant and the score.
What a throw by Jones. He threw that between two defenders in the perfect spot for his receiver to catch it. And the Raiders aren't going away easy.
Coming at 8:36. It only took them less than a minute, 59 seconds off the game clock to score. That's what you needed if you were the Raiders.
Yeah, but now, after the extra point attempt here, is it too early to try the onside kick? It's in that territory.
And the extra point is good, and the Raiders are back within 2 scores.
Because even if you're Raiders, regardless of what they decide to do in the kickoff, because, you got 8.5 minutes to go. An onside kick might be a little too early, but again, you haven't been able to stop the run much against the Falcons. And
well, that's the thing, too. It's like if you don't go for it here, are you comfortable then with potentially 4 minutes being burned off that clock by the time you touch that ball again? Because the Falcons, it'd be silly, I would think, for them not to try to keep the ball on the ground unless they're going backwards on a play or two. If you're going forward, if you're getting that old Woody Hayes, right, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, if you're getting that every play, you're okay, I think. I think you're content keeping it on the ground and burning some clock here.
Oh, yeah, if you're the Falcons, you're running the ball. And also, like, the Raiders, you got to force a 3 now because 1 first down keeps the drive going. Again, about 30 seconds of play. They only have the 2 timeouts.
Yeah, and you don't. It's a case where you really don't want to have to use those timeouts on defense. You want those to be offensive timeouts if you're the Raiders.
Austintown just took a timeout.
And they're in a case where they probably have that in the back of their mind too. They're thinking about the onside kick being a potential threat here, and it's something that Coach Parker wants to make sure that he has his team ready for, because he got a little momentum after that pass, after that touchdown catch by Marcus Crum. You don't want that momentum to start stacking and piling now.
Yeah, like last week I was on the call of LeBray and Smithfield, and LeBray, it was early in the game, they did a surprise onside kick, and they scored the next play. So, like, if you get – obviously Austintown's going to be kind of expecting it because of the situation. But if you get an onside kick, that gives you all the momentum, and sometimes you can score quickly after them.
That's what we're talking about. You get the onside kick after scoring, too. Momentum solely in the court of the Raiders then right now. So it's a tug-of-war match for momentum. The Falcons trying to get it back in their court, leading by 2 scores. They're still – you're comfortable, but you're not right now if you're Fitch, because you see how quickly the Raiders scored. Only took less than a minute off the clock, 59 seconds, to put that last score on the board.
Yeah, it's not over yet. Mainly if Harding gets a stop, but again, we'll see what they do
As the kick in the air. Taken in by the Falcons near the 15. Nice blocking. Down to the 30, 35, and finally tackled down past the 35. Nice return by the Falcons, and that was number 3, Trevion Davis, the senior.
Yeah, even that return takes seconds off the clock. But if you're Harding, you've got to get a 3 and out, because even one first down, you got to try to use those 2 timeouts, and then you're.
I mean, game plan if you're Fitch, MO, feeds number 7, feed number 2. Just keep it in the hands of your running backs. Let them go to work. Let your offensive line go to work. It's been working all this whole point today. All 5 scores from Austintown coming on the ground. So they've been doing work. The Raiders, though, you got to feel like you're pinning your ears back and you're saying, okay, they're going to run the ball.
Yeah, you just stack up the line and see what happens.
Hand it off to Higgs. Higgs, nice hole. Higgs, first down carry to the 50. And tick, tick, tick. You're okay with that if you're the Falcons. The chains do move. Clock will start as they set. But if you're the Falcons, you're going to be able to snap this now under 8 minutes. And you're playing the Raiders, but you're also playing to burn as much seconds off of that game clock as possible with each one of these possessions that you have. Obviously, if the Falcons score each possession, it's a moot point. The Raiders aren't going to be able to catch up if you could just keep having success offensively.
Yeah, and then like the Raiders, they haven't been able to stop the run much at all. Mainly the second half.
Twins on the right side of Kaler. He'll go back to the ground game. Richard has it. DeAndre Richard just power running, and he'll get past the chains.
Breaking another tackle on that run.
Into Raider territory. In this case, too, you'll even accept field goals to just build that lead. And just the more points you put on the scoreboard as Fitch here with 7:43 and ticking in the 4th, the better. You just want to try to make this as insurmountable of a lead as you possibly can. With the quick strike ability of this Raider offense, you feel like you need it.
Yeah, even with the quick strike offense, if Austintown scores you, that pretty much makes it a moot point. Because it's hard to score 21 points in 7 minutes.
Back to the handoff. Junie Higgs fights forward for about 5.
Mainly with the struggles they've had trying to stop this run.
On the Raider 35 now.
And now
Falcons don't have to snap the ball until it's under 7 minutes.
Yeah, now you're approaching, if you're Harding, when do you use those timeouts too? I mean,
if you get a 3rd down here, do you think you use one, try to get one back? I mean, the problem is
is it too early still?
Yeah,
like
that's what you question.
You're on that cusp of it.
Raiders would love a stop the old-fashioned way. Back to the ground game and finding some more success. Off the ground, move the chains. First down, Falcons to the 25 of the Raiders.
Coleman was in the backfield of that play. That dude does everything. But
he's just trying to get involved somewhere, trying to make an impact.
But yeah, but it was just him, and then Richard just ran past him. It's at this moment, those two are speed versus speed. And the Raiders they just can't stop the run right now.
First and 10 from the Raider 25. Falcons snap the ball at 6:20. Higgs able to bounce off tacklers and get another first down.
Richard and Higgs are just bouncing off these Harding defenders.
They're just marching down the field right now at a rapid rate. All these plays on the ground.
The clock is running, and a score here, it almost does them in.
You score here, yeah. I mean, you're going to be talking a little over 5 minutes, and I mean,
down potentially 21 points.
The handoff. And the tackle after a gain of about 2.
Now you're approaching that territory that the timeouts for Harding, you got to start using on defense. But again, only with being second down, you're not going to use one yet.
Walsh Jesuit currently up 35-21 over Hudson in the fourth quarter, so likely winner of that game going to be the Warriors. Going to be facing the winner of this game, which is likely to be the Falcons. Both scores similar in the fourth quarter as it stands right now.
Hudson keeping that game closer than I think a lot of people thought.
Handoff, Richard gets into the end zone, but a flag comes in. And likely a holding call, you would think.
As we wait for the call, Ty, the Warren Faithful is kind of, they look like they're heading for the exits.
Yeah. Despite not having a score yet, we'll back the Falcons up 10 off the hold. Falcons get backed up. Chains are dropped too, so it's a second down and goal. You have to score on this play to convert. From the 17. Tick under 5 minutes at 4:59 to go in the game. Falcons lead it by 2 scores. In Raider territory. The snap, the handoff, up the middle. Look at that power running by the Falcons. Raiders trying to pile it up near the goal line, and the Falcons will be held just shy of the mark, but big run on second and goal to bring it to the cusp of the Raider end zone.
And the cusp of the Raiders season.
Yeah. As we are 4:25 and ticking here in the final quarter of play. The Falcons trying to put the cherry on top from 2 yards out. Third and goal. The snap, whistle's blown, a flag comes in prior.
Harding.
And it looks like encroachment. They're pointing towards the Raiders side. Nice call on you again, DK, but take that official call here on the field. This will be half the distance, but more importantly, it's a first down then for the Falcons. Or third down, excuse me. No, automatic first down. Correct me on that. Maurice Coleman Bay called on the penalty. That's one point of the game that really hasn't changed a whole lot from Week 10. The Raiders still very heavily penalized in this game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's cost them here in the second half, in their comeback attempt. And Austintown has capitalized on them when they had the chance.
It's third and goal from the 1. No doubt you would think Falcons 2-for-1 opportunity here to try to get 6 more on the board.
Yeah, and then the other thing is the big penalty for Harding was the one that called back that big 80-yard touchdown in the first half.
That could have been momentum swinging for sure.
Because then it's 35-28. I mean, if that counts. If everything else stays the same.
Hand it off and get through the end zone for the touchdown. Junie Higgs, the hat trick for him. Each Falcon running back with 3 touchdowns tonight.
How often do you see 2 running backs get a hat trick, Ty?
6 rushing touchdowns in a game is pretty nutty from the Falcons here.
I mean, the story of the game, that kind of puts the nail in the coffin. It's not over till it's over. It'll be hard for the Raiders.
If you're not getting a kick return for a touchdown or something here,
nothing crazy.
Yeah, something insane, it's likely over, because unless the Raiders, again, can quickly score, you got to be under a minute And then, I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, you never say never until triple zeros hit that clock, but the Falcons sitting pretty, 3-score lead, looking to put the extra point through.
And then they haven't been able to stop the run this fourth quarter at all.
No, and it's been almost the case of the whole game, too. The Falcons just getting stronger as the night goes along.
We haven't even seen obviously off the top of our heads, we don't know the time of possession, but it's been favored of Austintown for sure. And that's just going to wear out the Harding defense. They're not going to admit it, but you're going to get tired.
When you're on the field, long periods of time. Credit the Falcons for playing a clean game of football as well. The kick is up. It is through. A false start, though, is called on the Falcons.
Way to jinx them. You say clean game.
Yeah.
It's the announcer jinx.
Take that one away. Back them up at the very least. For the Falcons, it was Sam Hensel, one of their senior offensive linemen. A little jump. So now they'll be kicking from the 15. Well, Ruggles. Ruggles sets for the extra point. Snap down, kick up, and it is good. And it's a 21-point lead for Austintown.
So basically, Warren has to score a touchdown per minute.
If you could average that, yeah. Without the Falcons really touching the ball as well, too. Every time Fitch gets the ball, you know they're going to try to burn the clock. So it's going to be a case where you need something quick. And you might see everything thrown at the wall right now if you're the Raider offense. Your trick plays, whatever you can to try to get a quick score here. As season's on the line, you're going to try to do anything you can here now.
Can Coleman throw to himself?
Coleman just throw it up to one of those lobs like he can and just outrun him?
I had to. No, obviously he's played an impressive game, but obviously it's been the running game for Austintown. Just how often do you get to have two running backs get a hat trick? All 6 of your touchdowns have been from rushing. That's every once in a while. Like normally you're gonna get one pass thrown in. Harding's defense just didn't have an answer for the running game this afternoon for Fitch.
Credit guys like Sam Hensel, credit guys like Trenton Ciccarelli, like Booker Newberry, guys on that front five offensive line that were creating those holes and creating those opportunities for the running game to run rampant tonight for the Falcons offense.
And even the situations where, like, Harding won the line of battle, Richard just took him with him.
Yeah. And the best thing about seeing a lot of these guys on this Falcon team is just seeing how young all of them are, how much more growth they have in all of them, what their ceilings all could potentially be. The kick is away, and it's through the back of the end zone. So bring it out to the 20 for the Raiders.
Well, let's see how fast they can, see if they can get a quick one.
Maybe a big deep shot to Devon Morgan. We might see that. They've been trying to work that.
Yeah, they had the
this
one,
game.
But it just the penalties have got them.
They had the one that was called back, and then the other one, too, that was a mere inches away from his hands, too. That was almost another big play that could have potentially been a scoring play to him. But it's that old adage, though, man, it's a game of inches, and in more than one way is it a game of inches. Raiders. James Jones takes the snap, looking to pass. Off his back foot. Picked it up off the turf, and Marcus Crum Jr. stopped down near the 17.
Yeah, Harding's got to hurry up here as they are, but maybe a little more pep in the step here.
Second down and 12 here for the Raiders. They're going to quick pass it, and an incompletion that time. I think Ariz Coleman Bay was the intended target. 3:02 to go in the game. Clock stops. It's 3rd and 12.
If they don't convert here, that's the ball game.
Yeah, as the Raiders, I mean, you think you're going to he might go for it on the 4th. Anyway, season on the line at this point.
Oh, you're not going to punt. No way.
But the Falcons see the path to victory, and it's getting shorter for them.
And a bright future ahead of them, too, how young they are.
Jones, 5 wide, snapping an empty backfield, a whistle blown. I believe a timeout taken. No, a flag coming in. Check that. Off the delay a game, that'll back them up 5. 3:01 to go, 4th quarter of play. 3rd and 17 for the Raiders. Staying 5 wide, Sims into motion. Jones gets brought down on the sack trying to get out of the backfield, and that'll back him up even more. It's 4th and a mile. Raiders will elect to punt here. Essentially waving the white flag with that one.
Yeah, they haven't. Like we were saying, score quick. They just kind of letting the clock run out.
Wind's out of the sails, it feels like right now too. And you mentioned that in more than one way, but I mean, it's a Raider defense that's tired too. I mean, it was a Raider defense that's tired, and a lot of these young men do play both sides of the ball, so they're tired too when you do that here at high division football too. When you're playing both sides, it gets tiring. So 2:15, and if you're the Falcons, just bleed the clock.
Run
And bleed some clock here.
Let's see if the Raiders even use their timeouts.
That is, yeah. Good point to make.
Obviously it was just the 4th quarter. Austintown kind of just took the momentum.
The snap, the handoff. Look at that carry. Big run that time, and a flag comes in after. Christian Mahone. Big carry by Mahone. Coming at 2:08. Flag came in at the 30. Likely on the tackle. Face mask, rather. And give them an extra 15 on that one. And the Falcons now inside the 15. We're 2 minutes in, ticking here in the 4th. The snap, the handoff. Continuing to fight through the tacklers. Gain of about 7. Janis got the carry that time.
Yeah.
Senior running back in Janis. And
Deshaun Wynn's down on the field. Oh, he's getting back up for Harding. He's a little slow to get up.
Coming out of minute 42. I don't know about you, DK, but I feel like the last 3 minutes of this game has taken as long as the previous 3 quarters have right now.
Yeah, it has. And we haven't even seen. I don't think we've seen a a pass or a timeout called. Because the thing was, we knew how it probably feels that way because we knew, even though there was only like 3-4 minutes to go, if Harding could get quick strikes, they had a chance.
Yeah. The penalties, though, in this game have really slowed it down. The Falcons will just take the knee and try to take us to 000. That'll burn the clock down. Raiders do not elect to use the timeout. The Falcons will just bleed the clock. So Austintown Fitch, coming off of that Week 10 loss to the Warren Harding Raiders, responded in a big way, exploding for 42 points tonight. 6 rushing touchdowns, a hat trick by both sophomore DeAndre Richard and junior Junie Higgs. And with those 6 touchdowns, some good Falcon defense played behind it. And the Falcons are moving on, 42-21 winners here.
And the big difference between the two games, Austintown didn't turn the ball over because Harding, they turned the ball over in that Week 10 game against Harding, and Harding capitalized.
No live ball turnovers was the big key for the Falcons tonight. We got a final over on Wyoga Road, too, home of the Walsh Jesuit Warriors. The Warriors are winners 35-21 over the Hudson Explorers tonight. So 35-21. So Walsh Jesuit will await the Austintown Fitch Falcons in next week's regional semifinal matchup here on ysnlive.com. What a game by the Falcon defense. What a game by the Falcon rushing attack as Austintown in their 38th meeting with the Raiders will take it. 11 seconds to go in this game by a final of 42-21.
Austintown just took a timeout.
Taking it, I think, at the last second there before a delay of game.
Yeah.
Do you kick a field goal here?
I would. No, you just you can just
burn the time. I mean, yeah, you need to try. They might just do one of those. You snap the ball,
and
you're running around in the backfield. Yeah, you're just trying to burn these 11 seconds. How big of a rival are they? Are they worth putting the extra 3 on them at the end?
I don't think they're.
What was that old
run up the
that
score.
old quote? Yeah, if I was up by 100, I'd go for 2.
Yeah, that sounds like a Michigan Ohio State thing. No, you can probably even if they take the knee, just let Warren maybe get
a delayed knee is what you think here is. I mean, the Raiders are probably going to get in the backfield. You try to delay it as much as you can. No, they're not even going to rush it.
Yeah, they're just going to wait
and they're going to call the game there, I think. No, they're going to turn it over. They're going to play by the rules. Make the Raiders take it with 4 seconds.
No, yeah, because he didn't technically, he gave himself up.
He could have waited, though, too. The Raiders weren't rushing. But add a little more into our marathon 3-minute finale here.
I think we've seen 3 days.
Yeah.
But also, kudos to the rest, just saying we're still playing by the rules.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say, Ty, this is probably the last play.
We're hoping, barring any penalties, please.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been a great game. I mean, just like all other previous meetings between these two schools. The officials are telling the Raiders to hold it on the sideline.
Yeah, because they're lined up for the high
Please
five.
Please do not get another penalty here.
No bait on the field situations.
These officials are like your old strict math teacher in high school, too. They ain't letting anything by here. There's no.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's by the rules and only by the rules. Raiders will take the knee, and that'll take us to 0-0 here from Greenwood Chevrolet Stadium in Austintown. The Falcons are moving on, 42-21 winners, where they will play the Walsh Jesuit Warriors in next week's regional semifinal matchup. As in the 38th matchup all time, the Falcons keep the edge on the Raiders, 20-18 in the series all time, and in playoff play since 2020, they are 2-1 against Warren G. Harding in the playoffs.
And the big thing was the run game. Harding didn't have an answer for the Austintown run game. And when it came down towards crunch time, Austintown playing some clean football, didn't have any penalties, no turnovers, and that's what cost them in Week 10. And they cleaned up those miscues, and they're moving on.
Falcons get their sweet revenge on the Raiders and are moving on to week number 12 of the week number 13 rather, of the high school football season. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in and watching this broadcast of high school football on ysnlive.com. To our proud owners, both DJ Yoakley and Brian Scott, who were able to bring this game to each and every person unable to make it in attendance tonight. To our GM, Steve Leslie, with his work with Bob Scene Park Baseball, YSU Football, and ysnlive.com, the many hats that Mr. Leslie wears, and we thank him for each and every single one of them. And most importantly, to all of you who tuned in and helped support these kids, schools, and communities. You guys are really and truly what YSN Live is all about. And so we thank you. Whether you are from the Warren Harding area supporting your Raiders, or you're right here in Austintown supporting your Falcons, or wherever you may be in the sport of high school football. I'm Ty Bartell. He's Dakota Kotzel. We're YSNLive.com bidding you all a farewell and a good night, everybody.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your sports network. For stories, stats, and more, go to YSN Live.